Natural disasters can strike without warning. One moment, life is normal. The next, everything changes. That's why the Amish have perfected the art of food storage, preparing for everything from harsh winters to devastating hurricanes. Their preservation skills are truly remarkable. Do you want to be among the few who'll thrive in an emergency? Here are 30 foods the Amish stockpile that never expire. Honey. Honey is one of those rare foods that feels almost magical. I mean, think about it. Scientists have found honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that's still edible. How incredible is that? This golden nectar isn't just a sweet treat, it's practically immortal. And for the Amish, who have mastered the art of self-reliance, honey has been a go-to for generations, not just as a sweetener, but as an essential survival tool. What makes honey so special? It's all about its natural composition. With low moisture content and high acidity, honey creates a hostile environment for bacteria, which is why it doesn't spoil. Even better, raw honey contains enzymes like glucose oxidase, which produce hydrogen peroxide, a natural antimicrobial agent. So, it's not just tasty, it's packed with benefits like antioxidants and trace minerals that processed honey often loses. While honey is widely available now, relying on stores in a crisis is a gamble. Stockpiling ensures you always have this incredible resource, even when shelves are empty. Personally, I always go for raw, unfiltered honey from farmers markets. Not only does it taste amazing, but it also keeps its nutritional edge. And the uses? Endless. Sure, it's great in tea, but honey can soothe a sore throat, help heal minor burns, or even work as a natural wound dressing in emergencies. Honestly, it's less of a food and more of a miracle in a jar. Honey may last forever, but it can't satisfy your hunger on its own. This is where white rice comes in. White rice. White rice is one of my favourite foods to have on hand. It's versatile, filling, and practically lasts forever. The Amish have been using rice as a reliable food item for generations, and for good reason. When stored in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers and kept in a cool, dark place, white rice can maintain its quality for up to 30 years. That kind of longevity is hard to beat. What I love most about white rice is how it serves as a blank canvas for countless meals. Whether you're pairing it with beans, vegetables, or meat, it's always a satisfying addition. It's also incredibly affordable, especially when purchased in bulk. While white rice is the go-to for its shelf life, you might consider brown rice if you want added fiber and nutrients. Just keep in mind that its higher oil content means it won't last as long. For me, white rice is a no-brainer. It's easy to store, cook, and enjoy, making it an essential part of any long-term food strategy. While white rice is perfect for hearty meals, it's missing the crunch and nutrition of fresh produce. Here comes pickled vegetables. Pickled vegetables. I have to admit, there's something incredibly satisfying about the thought of pickled vegetables lining the shelves of a pantry. Pickling is a preservation method that uses vinegar or brine to inhibit spoilage, creating tangy, flavorful vegetables that last for years. And the Amish have perfected this art for centuries. They use simple ingredients like vinegar, salt, and sometimes sugar to preserve their garden harvests. What amazes me most is how this method locks in essential nutrients like vitamin C, and in some cases, even adds probiotics through natural fermentation. Personally, I find it incredibly rewarding to make my own pickles at home. It's not just about saving money, it's about knowing exactly what's going into those jars. But let's be honest, if you're short on time, pre-made options are perfectly fine. And if you're feeling adventurous, try fermenting something like sauerkraut or kimchi. These are not only delicious, but come with added health benefits from probiotics. Pickled vegetables are a great way to add vitamins to your meals. But what about protein? For that, we turn to canned meats. Canned meats. When it comes to protein, canned meats are an absolute game changer. I've always thought there's something deeply comforting about knowing you have a stockpile of chicken, beef, pork, or even fish ready to go. No refrigeration required. The Amish have long relied on home canned meats, not just for their convenience, but for their incredible shelf stability. These jars of protein are perfect for emergencies, long winters, or even just busy days when cooking from scratch isn't an option. So, how do the Amish can their meat? It's all about tradition and precision. They use pressure canners to safely preserve their meats, sealing them in jars to create an airtight environment that prevents bacteria from thriving. The process involves carefully cutting the meat into manageable pieces, adding a touch of salt for flavour and preservation, and packing it into sterilised jars. Then, the jars are placed in a pressure canner, where the combination of heat and pressure ensures the meat is safely preserved for years to come. What makes canned meats so special is their versatility. You can add them to soups, stews, casseroles, or simply serve them with rice or bread for a quick and hearty meal. Properly canned meats, whether store-bought or home-canned, can last for years if stored in a cool, dark place. If you don't have the time or equipment for home canning, store-bought canned meats like tuna, chicken, or corned beef are excellent alternatives. But when disaster strikes, store shelves can empty faster than you think. Having your own supply of canned meats means you'll never have to worry about feeding your family when times get tough. Meat is essential for protein, but you'll need something reliable for energy and nutrition. Rolled oats are the perfect addition to any stockpile. Rolled oats. Oats might not be the flashiest item in your pantry, but their versatility and nutrition make them an all-star for long-term storage. For me, rolled oats are a comfort food. They're filling, nutritious, and can be used in so many ways. The Amish have relied on oats for generations, not just for breakfast, but as a key ingredient in baking and cooking. Oats are easy to find now, but in a crisis, they can disappear quickly. Stockpiling ensures you're never left without a reliable source of nutrition. When stored in sealed containers with oxygen absorbers, rolled oats can last up to 30 years. That's decades of peace of mind in a single storage bin. What I love about oats is their versatility. They're perfect for a quick breakfast, a thickener in soups, or even as a base for homemade granola. If you prefer a different texture, steel-cut oats are a fantastic alternative with the same longevity and nutritional benefits. Rolled oats are a simple yet powerful food that proves you don't need fancy ingredients to create something satisfying. Oats are filling and nutritious, but what really brings out the flavour in every dish? The answer is salt. Salt. Salt is one of those food items that quietly does so much more than you'd expect. For me, it's not just about flavour, it's about survival. The Amish have long relied on salt to preserve meats and vegetables, particularly when refrigeration isn't an option. Its dehydrating properties make it a natural enemy of bacteria, effectively halting spoilage before it starts. What amazes me is that salt, when stored properly in a cool, dry place, never expires. It's truly timeless. Salt can be used for both preserving food and seasoning meals over the long term, and it's incredibly affordable. You can find it at any grocery store. Whether you prefer kosher salt, sea salt, or even Himalayan varieties, the options are plentiful. But salt's usefulness doesn't stop at the kitchen. It's also a valuable tool for water purification, cleaning, and even wound care in emergencies. I find comfort in knowing that something so simple and accessible has such a profound impact on food security and overall preparedness. Salt is a must-have no matter the scenario. Salt is indispensable for preserving food, but it's not something you can eat on its own. For a protein-packed, long-lasting option that doesn't need refrigeration, let's turn to jerky. Jerky. When it comes to survival foods, jerky is a personal favourite. there's just something reassuring about having a stash of this protein-packed snack ready to go. The Amish have long mastered the art of making jerky, air drying or smoking meats like beef, venison or turkey to ensure they last for months, even years. The Amish are well vested in turning simple ingredients into something that's as practical as it is delicious. I mean, who wouldn't want a food that's lightweight, energy-dense and ready for any situation? Personally, I prefer making jerky at home. There's a sense of accomplishment in drying lean cuts of meat and seasoning them just the way I like. Plus, homemade jerky is free from unnecessary additives, which is always a bonus. That said, store-bought options are convenient and readily available if you're pressed for time. For variety, I also recommend trying smoked salmon or dried fish. They're just as durable and bring a whole new set of flavours to the table. If the Amish can thrive on this, I'm confident it can be a game changer for anyone focused on long-term food security. Jerky offers plenty of protein, but what about lightweight, nutritious options that can enhance any meal? Dehydrated vegetables are the perfect answer. Dehydrated vegetables. If there's one thing I've learned about food preservation, it's that lightweight and compact options are game changers, and dehydrated vegetables are the perfect example. The Amish often rely on dehydrating as part of their self-sufficient lifestyle, and it's easy to see why. This method removes moisture, the main culprit of spoilage, while locking in nutrients. Carrots, onions and peppers, when dehydrated and stored properly, can last over a decade, especially in airtight containers like Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. So how do you dehydrate vegetables? It's simpler than you might think. Using a food dehydrator is the easiest method. Start by washing and slicing your vegetables into thin, uniform pieces to ensure even drying. Spread them in a single layer on the dehydrator trays. Set the temperature to around 125–135 degrees Fahrenheit and let the dehydrator work its magic for several hours. If you don't have a dehydrator, a low-temperature oven works as well. Place the vegetables on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and bake at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, checking and turning them periodically to avoid over-drying. Personally, I love the versatility of dehydrated vegetables. They're easy to store, simple to rehydrate, and perfect for adding to soups, stews, or casseroles. And let's not forget their portability. They're ideal for camping trips or situations where space is limited. While you can purchase pre-packaged dehydrated vegetables from outdoor supply stores or online retailers, there's something satisfying about making your own. Dehydrated vegetables are great for your pantry. But what about hydration and digestion? Here comes fermented drinks. Fermented drinks. Fermented drinks like kombucha or fermented apple cider are more than just trendy beverages. They're rich in probiotics and offer impressive shelf stability. The Amish have long brewed their own fermented drinks, using them not only as a refreshing treat, but also as a way to support digestive health. What makes these drinks so special is their natural preservation process, which extends their shelf life significantly. For me, fermented drinks are a win-win. They're delicious and functional, providing a boost of beneficial bacteria that can improve gut health and strengthen the immune system. Storing a few gallons of kombucha or apple cider in your pantry is a great way to diversify your stockpile while incorporating a touch of luxury. If you're a DIY enthusiast, brewing kombucha at home is simple. All you need is tea, sugar, a SCOBY, symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, and some patience. Another perk is the low-cost nature of homemade fermented drinks. With just a few ingredients, you can produce gallons of probiotic-rich beverages. Whether you're enjoying them for their health benefits or just as a tasty way to stay hydrated, fermented drinks add variety and value to your long-term food storage. While fermented drinks are all about health and refreshment, Let's not forget the value of something sweet. Molasses. Molasses. Molasses is one of those pantry food items that feels timeless. The Amish have long used it as a sweetener and a key ingredient in baking, from cookies and cakes to bread and pies. What makes molasses stand out is its long shelf life. It can last for years when stored in a sealed container in a cool, dry place. Beyond baking, molasses is incredibly versatile. It can be used to glaze meats, sweeten oatmeal, or even as a natural remedy for minor ailments like sore throats. One thing I love about molasses is its role in Amish cooking. It's just a constant reminder of how simple, natural ingredients can elevate even the humblest dishes. For those looking to diversify, blackstrap molasses is a particularly nutrient-rich option, offering iron, calcium, and magnesium. Whether you're using it to bake bread or whip up a quick marinade, molasses is a practical and delicious addition to any long-term food stockpile. Molasses brings sweetness and depth to your recipes, but for a touch of indulgence, nothing beats cocoa powder. Cocoa powder. Cocoa powder is one of those items that feels like a little luxury in a survival stockpile. Whether it's for making hot cocoa on a cold winter's night or adding richness to baked goods, it's a versatile ingredient that's worth having on hand. The Amish appreciate its long shelf life and use it not just for treats, but as a way to bring a touch of comfort to their meals. Stored in an airtight container in a cool, dry place, cocoa powder can last for years without losing its flavor or quality. I believe cocoa powder is more than just an ingredient, it's a morale booster. In challenging times, a cup of hot cocoa can bring a sense of normalcy and warmth. And let's not forget its versatility. It can be used in cakes, brownies, sauces, and even as a seasoning for savory dishes like chili. If you want to make the most of your cocoa powder, consider pairing it with other long-lasting food items like powdered milk and sugar to create instant hot chocolate mix. It's small comforts like these that can make all the difference during tough times. While cocoa powder satisfies your sweet tooth, wheat berries are the backbone of hearty, nutritious meals whenever you need it. Wheat berries. Wheat berries are the starting point for fresh homemade flour, which is why they've been a favourite in Amish kitchens for generations. The beauty of wheat berries lies in their shelf life. When stored in a cool, dry place in airtight containers, they can last 30 years or more. What I love most about wheat berries is the flexibility they offer. With a grain mill or even a simple hand grinder, you can turn them into flour whenever you need it, ensuring freshness and maximum nutrition. For any average family, stockpiling 100 to 200 pounds of wheat berries is a solid investment in food security. They're not just for flour either. You can cook them whole for a hearty, nutrient-dense side dish or add them to soups and salads. Another bonus is their affordability. Buying wheat berries in bulk is often cheaper than stocking up on processed flour, and they take up less space in storage. Whether you're baking bread, making pancakes, or simply experimenting with recipes, wheat berries are a cornerstone of a self-sufficient pantry. Wheat berries are great for baking, but you'll need something equally long-lasting and rich in protein. That's where dried beans come in. Dried beans. Dried beans are one of the most important items you can have in your stockpile, and they're food items I always feel good about storing. During emergencies, even basic food items like beans can become scarce. Keeping a personal stockpile ensures you'll always have access to this protein-packed essential. The Amish have depended on dried beans for generations, using them as a foundation of their self-sufficient lifestyle. What's even better is their longevity. When stored in airtight containers in a cool, dry place, dried beans can last up to 30 years while retaining their nutritional value. Popular varieties like black beans, kidney beans, and pinto beans are readily available at most grocery stores, and buying in bulk can save you a lot of money. I particularly appreciate how versatile beans are. They're great in soups, stews, or even as the base for hearty salads. To maximize their shelf life, store beans in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. If you're looking for alternatives, dried peas and lentils are excellent options. They cook faster than traditional beans and provide similar nutritional benefits. Dried beans are perfect for homemade meals, but sometimes you need something quick and ready to go. Canned soups and stews offer the same nourishment with the convenience of a meal in a jar. Canned soups and stews. Canned soups and stews are like little jars of comfort. The Amish often prepare homemade versions, canning them at the end of harvest season to ensure their families have quick, nourishing meals during winter or emergencies. What I love about this approach is how practical it is. With canned soups, you're essentially preserving an entire meal, ready to heat and eat whenever you need it. So, how do the Amish can their soups and stews? First, they cook the soup or stew as they normally would, often using fresh vegetables, meats and spices from their own farms. Once the dish is ready, they ladle it into sterilised canning jars, leaving about an inch of headspace to allow for expansion during processing. The jars are then sealed with lids and placed in a pressure canner. The canning process uses high heat and pressure to kill any bacteria, ensuring the soups and stews remain safe to eat for years. Properly canned soups can last for years if sealed correctly and stored in a cool, dry place. Personally, I enjoy making and canning my own soups. It's a way to use up extra produce while creating something that's both delicious and convenient. If you're not into home canning, store-bought options are widely available, though they may lack the personal touch of a homemade recipe. Regardless, having soups and stews on hand ensures you'll always have a fast, nutritious meal ready to go. Canned soups and stews are great for emergencies, but what if you want to create your own flavours from scratch? Bouillon cubes are a compact way to add richness to any dish. Bouillon cubes. Flavour might not seem like a survival necessity, but trust me, when you're eating the same food item day in and day out, it makes all the difference. That's where bouillon cubes shine. These small but mighty flavour enhancers are popular in Amish cooking, adding flavour to soups, stews and rice dishes. What I find amazing is how compact and long-lasting they are. Thanks to their high salt content, bouillon cubes can last for years when stored in a dry, cool place. They're lightweight, take up almost no space, and come in a variety of flavours like chicken, beef and vegetable. Personally, I like to have a mix of all three to keep things interesting. If you're looking for an alternative, powdered broth offers similar benefits and the same impressive shelf life. Bouillon cubes might not seem like much on their own, but when combined with other food items like beans or grains, they transform an ordinary dish into something truly satisfying. Bouillon cubes add flavour to meals, but for something with a little more kick and plenty of protein, let's look at pickled eggs. Pickled eggs. Pickled eggs are one of those foods that perfectly balance flavour and being practical. Preserved in a vinegar brine, they offer a protein-rich option that can last for months without refrigeration. The Amish often turn to pickled eggs as a way to make use of excess eggs while ensuring they have a reliable source of protein during lean times. What I love about pickled eggs is their versatility. They make a great snack, can be sliced and added to salads, or even served as a tangy side dish. The vinegar brine not only preserves the eggs, but also infuses them with a unique, slightly sour flavour that's surprisingly addictive. Making pickled eggs at home is straightforward. All you need are boiled eggs, vinegar, spices, and a jar. If you're not up for making them yourself, some grocery stores and specialty shops sell ready-made versions. Pickled eggs are a unique option for your pantry, but for sheer durability and shelf life, nothing compares to hardtack. Hardtack. Hardtack is one of those foods that's more about function than flavour, but when it comes to longevity, it's hard to beat. Made from just flour, water and salt, This dense cracker-like food has been a staple for soldiers, sailors, and of course, the Amish. Its low moisture content is the key to its durability, preventing bacteria and mold from forming. When stored properly, hardtack can last for decades. So, how do the Amish make and store their hardtack? The process is as simple as the ingredients. They start by mixing flour, water, and a pinch of salt into a stiff dough. The dough is then rolled out and cut into rectangular pieces, each one pricked with small holes to ensure even baking. These pieces are baked at a low temperature for several hours, until they are completely dry and rock hard. Once cooled, the Amish store their hardtack in airtight containers or wrap it tightly in cloth and keep it in a cool, dry place. This method ensures that moisture and pests are kept at bay, preserving the hardtack for years. What I find fascinating about hardtack is its simplicity. It's incredibly easy to make at home with basic ingredients, and while it might not be the most exciting food, it's reliable. While it's not exactly gourmet, soaking it in soups or beverages softens it up, making it more palatable. For those who want a slightly more modern alternative, crackers or dried bread can be a substitute, though they don't last as long as hardtack. Hardtack may last forever, but it could use a touch of sweetness. That's where maple syrup shines. Maple syrup. The Amish often rely on pure maple syrup as a natural sweetener in baking, cooking, or drizzling over breakfast favourites like pancakes and oatmeal. When stored in an airtight container in a cool, dark place, real maple syrup can last for years without spoiling. What I love about maple syrup is its versatility. It's not just for sweet treats. It can be used in marinades, glazes, or even as a natural sugar substitute in recipes. If you're lucky enough to live near a sugar maple grove, tapping your own trees is an excellent way to produce maple syrup at home. While it's a labour-intensive process, the result is incredibly rewarding. Whether you buy it or make it yourself, pure maple syrup is a pantry staple that brings flavour to your food storage plan. Maple syrup adds luxury to your pantry, but you'll thank cracked corn for its versatility. Cracked corn. Cracked corn is an incredibly practical addition to any survival pantry, especially as a backup for making cornmeal or as emergency livestock feed. The Amish rely on cracked corn not only for its versatility, but also for its long shelf life when stored in a cool, dry place. The Amish crack their corn by harvesting whole dried corn kernels from their own fields. The Amish use simple hand-cranked mills or motorized grain grinders to crack the kernels into smaller, coarse pieces. This method is efficient, and because the corn isn't ground too finely, it retains its nutrients and stays fresher for longer. Once the corn is cracked, they store it in large airtight containers, such as food-grade buckets, to keep out moisture, pests, and contaminants. For added protection, they sometimes use mylar bags with oxygen absorbers inside the buckets, ensuring the cracked corn remains usable for years. Personally, I find the dual purpose of cracked corn most useful. In emergencies, it can be ground into cornmeal for baking, and it's also a reliable feed option for chickens or other livestock. Cracked corn is also a budget-friendly addition to your stockpile. It's widely available at feed stores or farm supply shops and can be purchased in bulk at a low cost. Cracked corn is essential for sustenance, but apple cider vinegar is equally versatile. Apple cider vinegar. I've always been amazed by how many uses apple cider vinegar has. It's far more than just a salad dressing. The Amish have long embraced its versatility, using it for everything from pickling vegetables to improving digestion. Its high acidity makes it an excellent natural preservative, and studies show that it inhibits bacterial growth, making it ideal for food storage. What's even better is its health benefits. Apple cider vinegar has been linked to regulating blood sugar levels and aiding digestion, which is a bonus in any diet. While store-bought options are readily available, you can make your own by fermenting apples, a cost-effective and rewarding process. If you're looking for alternatives, white vinegar is a cheaper option for cleaning and basic food preservation. Still, apple cider vinegar's unique health benefits make it a standout choice. Apple cider vinegar is popular for health and preservation. But let's not forget the ingredients that make every meal flavorful: spices. Spices. Spices might not seem like a survival essential, but trust me, they make all the difference when it comes to keeping meals enjoyable during tough times. The Amish know this well, using simple yet effective seasonings to elevate even the most basic dishes. What's remarkable about spices is their longevity. When stored in airtight containers, they can last indefinitely, retaining their flavor and potency for years. For me, the thought of stockpiling spices isn't just practical, it's comforting. Knowing I'll have cinnamon to sprinkle on oatmeal or black pepper to season a hearty stew brings a sense of normalcy to any situation. Plus, many spices offer health benefits. Cinnamon, for instance, has anti-inflammatory properties, while turmeric is known for boosting the immune system. It's like having a mini pharmacy in your pantry. Pepper and dried herbs can go a long way. And if you're feeling adventurous, why not grow your own herbs? Basil, thyme, and oregano are easy to cultivate at home and can be dried for long-term storage. Spices elevate any meal, but to create truly hearty dishes, you'll need a base like cornmeal. Cornmeal. Whether it's for baking cornbread, pancakes, or even coating fish for frying, cornmeal's versatility is unmatched. The Amish have relied on cornmeal for generations, using it to create simple, hearty meals that sustain their families year-round. What's more, it's naturally gluten-free, making it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions. The secret to cornmeal's longevity lies in proper storage. When kept in airtight containers in a cool, dry environment, cornmeal can last for years without losing its quality. According to research, moisture is the biggest threat, so ensuring it's stored correctly is critical. One thing I love about cornmeal is how easy it is to make from scratch. If you have access to dried corn and a grinder, you can create your own fresh supply at home. For a slightly different option, consider masa harina, a finely ground corn flour used for tortillas and tamales. It has similar longevity and can add variety to your pantry. Cornmeal is great for baking, but to get those perfect textures and flavors, you'll need a cooking fat like lard. Lard. Lard is one of those traditional ingredients that's making a comeback, and for good reason. The Amish community has been using this for generations. It's ideal for frying, baking, or even adding flavor to dishes, and its long-lasting nature makes it an excellent alternative to butter or vegetable oil in a survival pantry. What I find fascinating about lard is how versatile it is. From making flaky pie crusts to frying up crispy potatoes, it's a food item that can elevate simple recipes. When stored in an airtight container in a cool, dark place, lard can last for a very long time. If you're feeling adventurous, you can even render your own lard at home from pork fat, which allows you to control the quality and flavor. An alternative with similar longevity is coconut oil. Lard enhances your cooking, but for a reliable source of calcium and protein, powdered milk is the way to go. Powdered milk. I'll be honest, when I first thought about powdered milk, I wasn't too excited. But once you realize how useful and long-lasting it is, it quickly earns its place in any stockpile. The Amish have used powdered milk for decades, especially in situations where fresh milk isn't an option. They rehydrate it with water for drinking, use it in baking, or even add it to recipes that call for dairy. The shelf life is what really blows my mind. Properly stored in a cool, dry environment, powdered milk can last up to 20 years without losing its nutritional value. That means you're always stocked with calcium, vitamin D, and protein. If you're looking for alternatives, shelf-stable UHT, ultra-high temperature milk, is an option, though it doesn't last quite as long. Personally, I always feel a little more secure knowing I have a stash tucked away. It's one of those items that quietly works behind the scenes, keeping your meals complete. Powdered milk is essential for nutrition, but white vinegar offers unmatched versatility. White vinegar. White vinegar is one of those multi-purpose items that I believe every household should have in abundance. The Amish have been using white vinegar for generations, and it's easy to see why. It's not just a food preservative, it's a cleaner, a disinfectant, and even a natural remedy. What I find most impressive about white vinegar is it's an essential ingredient in pickling, which is one of my favourite methods for preserving fresh produce. Beyond food storage, it's an eco-friendly solution, inexpensive, widely available, and incredibly useful. Whether you're preserving food, cleaning your home, or tackling minor skin irritations, white vinegar is a true multitasker that deserves a spot in every pantry. White vinegar is practical and multi-purpose, but dried fruit adds a burst of natural sweetness and energy to your stockpile. Dried fruit. I've always thought dried fruit was one of those quiet heroes in any pantry. It's not flashy, but when you're craving something sweet and nutritious that can last for years, it's unbeatable. The Amish have been drying fruits for generations as a way to preserve the best of their harvests, especially during winter months when fresh produce is scarce. Fruits like raisins, apricots, and dates retain much of their vitamins and minerals, particularly vitamin C and fibre, making them a healthy, shelf-stable option. The Amish typically slice the fruits into thin, even pieces, ensuring they dry uniformly. They often use large drying racks placed in the sun or near a wood stove, relying on natural heat and airflow to remove moisture. For more controlled drying, they use low-tech food dehydrators powered by gas or hand-crank mechanisms. Once the fruit is completely dried, they store it in airtight glass jars or food-grade containers, sometimes with oxygen absorbers to maintain freshness. The key is keeping the dried fruit in a cool, dark place to prevent spoilage. What I love most about dried fruit is how versatile it is. Whether you're snacking on it straight from the jar, adding it to oatmeal, or even baking with it, there's no shortage of ways to enjoy it, and the fact that it's packed with natural sugars makes it an excellent energy boost during busy days or emergencies. Dried fruit is sweet and satisfying, but for something savoury, sauerkraut is an excellent choice. Sauerkraut. I'll admit, sauerkraut is one of those foods I didn't appreciate until I learned just how much it brings to the table, literally. Some might confuse pickling with fermentation, but unlike pickling, fermentation relies on natural bacteria to preserve food. This process not only extends shelf life, but also boosts gut health with probiotics. The Amish have long relied on sauerkraut, not just for its extended shelf life, but for its health benefits during tough winters. Fermenting cabbage into sauerkraut is a simple process that transforms a basic vegetable into a nutritional powerhouse, perfect for long-term storage. Making sauerkraut at home is surprisingly easy. All you need is cabbage, salt, and a bit of patience for the fermentation process. Of course, if you're not up for DIY projects, store-bought sauerkraut works just fine. And if you're looking for a bolder flavour, fermented kimchi is an excellent alternative with a spicy kick and similar health benefits. Sauerkraut is excellent for gut health and long-term storage, but it's not something that can keep you full on its own. For that, let's turn to a versatile and comforting food item: pasta. Pasta. Pasta might seem ordinary, but it's actually one of the most reliable foods you can have in your stockpile. I can't imagine a more versatile base for meals. Whether it's a quick dinner or a hearty soup, pasta fits the bill. The Amish know this too, relying on simple grains and dried pasta in their kitchens. Thanks to its low moisture content, dried pasta can resist spoilage and last for years when stored in airtight containers. What amazes me is how economical pasta is. For just a few dollars, you can buy bulk quantities that stretch across countless meals. It provides the foundation for a variety of recipes, keeping meals interesting even during tough times. One of the best parts about pasta is its simplicity. It doesn't require refrigeration, it's easy to cook, and it pairs beautifully with everything. Pasta provides a reliable base for meals, but no dish is complete without vegetables. That's where canned vegetables step in. Canned vegetables. Canned vegetables might not be the most glamorous item on this list, but they are a rock-solid choice for long-term food storage. What I appreciate most about canned veggies is their dependability. They're a convenient way to enjoy essential nutrients like vitamins A, C, and fibre, even when fresh produce is out of reach. The Amish have long used canning as a way to extend the harvest year-round, ensuring their families are well fed, no matter the season. One of the most impressive things about canned vegetables is their longevity. When stored properly in a cool, dark place, they can last anywhere from 10 to 20 years while maintaining much of their nutritional value. If you have a garden, canning your own vegetables is a cost-effective alternative that feels incredibly rewarding. Using glass jars and a pressure canner, you can preserve the flavour and nutrients of your harvest while building a stockpile you can be proud of. Whether store-bought or homemade, canned vegetables are an absolute staple for anyone serious about food security. Canned vegetables are practical and nutritious, but to take your cooking to the next level, you'll need a rich, shelf-stable fat like ghee. Ghee. When I first learned about ghee, I thought of it as just another type of butter. But the more I used it, the more I realised how essential it is, especially for long-term food storage. Ghee has been popular for centuries, including in Amish households. By removing the water and milk solids, ghee becomes a pure fat that can last for years without refrigeration. Research confirms that ghee stored in a cool, dark place remains stable for extended periods, making it an excellent source of fat in survival situations. It can be used for frying, baking, or simply adding richness to meals. While pre-made ghee is widely available in grocery stores, making your own is surprisingly simple. All it takes is gently simmering butter until the milk solids separate, leaving behind a golden liquid. Ghee can even double as a skincare product.